Hey y'all, so I am finally here. I know a few weeks ago on Facebook, Instagram, and probably TikTok, um, I kind of briefly spoke about how 6 years ago I moved to my hometown, birth town, whatever you want to call it, on $13 an hour with a child alone. And years later, I have made it to where I am making almost three times that amount with no degree because I went to college, but I did not finish my degree. Um, no relevant certifications or anything like that. I can go more in depth into the certifications that I do have, but most of it didn't necessarily lend to the actual position that I'm currently working in now. And I feel like for a while, um, God has placed in me to help other people translate their experience and get into certain positions where, how can you say it? Well, we can level up. We can place ourselves in positions where we can take care of the things that we need to take care of. Rent, bills, kids. You might not be rich. You might not be wealthy. This might be a stepping stone to getting rich or getting wealthy. But just as Black people, as Christians, there is a poverty mindset and feeling as though if you don't go to certain colleges, if you don't have a degree in certain things, um, you're going to be working a low paying job, making nothing on assistance, and having your hand out like this because you can't do what you need to do for your family, your home, for yourself. And I am a testament of the fact that with the knowledge that I've gained, the work that I've put in, because it does take work to get in these positions. You know, we can go more in depth on that later. But with the knowledge and the work and favor, because we're not going to forget that. Anybody ask me how I got the position that I got, I tell them it's God's favor, you know, first and foremost. With all that together, you can put yourself in a position where you're not wondering how you're going to pay your light bill. You're not wondering how you're going to pay your rent. You're not 100% leaning on the government to take up for what you're lacking in. And I think that is a big thing as adults, as women and men, as parents, as Black people as a whole, you know, getting to that space because we can't create any type of wealth or anything like that unless we're in a space where we can take care of the things that we need to take care of. So I wanted to make a quick little video just kind of detailing my journey. I don't want to go in depth too much, but I just want to kind of show you the transition of how I'm here now. And I'm going to tell you now, technically right now, no, I'm not making six figures. But I'm in a position where it allows me to take care of the things I need to take care of. Allows me to take care of my children. It allows me to have my mother here in my home. Um, to the point I'm not on I'm not on assistance. I'm not worried about how I'm going to pay rent. I'm not worried if I do need to buy something for my car that I'm going to be late on another bill. And that's a blessing within itself. Excuse me, y'all. But like I said, about 6 years ago, I moved here. I was with a staffing agency and I was making $13 an hour. So that means I was not permanent. It was not guaranteed that I was going to be permanent. Was I converted into a permanent position? Yes. But once I was converted into that permanent position, I think I was making $13.50 an hour. Even though the prices were a lot lower than they are today, being that's about 6 years ago, still $13 an hour, $13.50 an hour, that was nothing. And honestly, if it wasn't for just having faith and just wanting to go out on a limb, I honestly don't know how I did it, but God always makes a way. So I started there. I had a few other jobs after that. making like $14 here, there, jumping from job to job, staffing agencies, little stunts like that. And to the point where me and my daughter's father, we were broken up. He allowed me to stay in the home that we had got together. But the thing was, okay, I have 3 children now. I have my mom who lived with me, and I have no job. Um, the people who are the property managers of my home, they're like, okay, what you gonna do, boo? That was your income. And I was still telling them that I had my previous job. I think I was making like $14 an hour. And it was like, how you gonna afford this? You can't afford this, not knowing I don't even have a job. But so I have been praying. I have been looking at some different jobs and stuff like that. I have been doing my research as far as, okay, what do I need to do with my resume? How can I be seen? Like, I need a job, and not only do I need a job, I need a job where I can be able to account for everything that I have going on. That means my home, my car, my kids, having my mom in here as well. Like, I need something that's going to be able to provide me enough for that. I prayed on it. I did some research, and I came across insurance, as far as like insurance adjusters and stuff. So I was looking at the pay, and I know because I have call center experience and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, they're on the phones all the time. It's like call center. They're making about 40,000. Okay, I can pay my bills with it. So I was applying. I was redoing my resume. I was applying. I was praying, and I was telling God, like, this is what I want. It wasn't like I just need a job. I was intentional on what I asked for. Like, God, I need a job that's going to pay me enough to do this. I need a job where I could possibly stay at home because of me having young kids, and needing the flexibility. And I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but insurance is saying that they gonna pay me this, and it's doing basically the same thing that I've been doing. Um, God, I need it. I need it. So, I ended up getting a position, as an insurance adjuster. Thank God. I was making about $23 an hour. Um, they paid for it and trained me on getting my certification so I can be certified in order to do the job. And that was just a blessing. And from there, um, I'll say after that, I didn't want to be on the phones anymore. Kind of sidetracked, but I didn't want to be on the phones anymore. I thought about getting into tech. So I was going to take a boot camp and pull unemployment. And it didn't work. Y'all, it did not work. So I ended up leaving that position because the phones, it was just too much for me. Um, but I'm blessed enough because that's where everything really kind of started off, really kicked off, and got my wheels to going as far as using your experience to level up into another position. So I was unemployed for a while until I got a job in right of way. I don't want to go too deep into what that is, but if you have any questions on that type of position, you can reach out to me personally, just to get like a little idea of what that means. Um, Very cool job. Don't want to go too far into it. I ended up being able to travel, and go down to another state for 2 weeks at a time, and then I'll come back home for a week. And that was just an experience in itself. And just because using my previous experience, whether in call centers, um, invoice, vendor management, sales, because I do have sales experience, retail, and insurance, that landed me in a position where I could travel, um, and where I gained other experience. I got my notary, my certified public notary with that job, and that was an experience within itself, which ended up in me getting laid off at the same time. My boyfriend at the time had got laid off, and after going through a lot of things with that, let me come back because I think this is about the end. Sorry, y'all. I had came back, created the second part of the video, and then I don't know what happened to it. But I think I was at the part where I had ended up getting laid off from my right away job. And yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot. And kind of the same thing of what I did when I was looking for the insurance jobs. I told God, I said, I love what I was just doing. I got the chance to travel. It was very chill. We got to drive company vehicles and different things like that. Very laid back, but I was also learning a lot. It was something totally different. I didn't have to be on the phones all day, every time picking up the phone. I didn't want to do that. And so I told God, while I'm laid off, because we doing Amazon, we're doing DoorDash, all this stuff like that. A lot of things are going on because when you laid off and you have two people in the home that are laid off or unemployed, it just caused a lot of stress and strain. And I prayed for an opportunity. I told God, like, I love what I do. I love it. But I'm also ready. If you're gonna bless me, because I want to be able to. I was making good money at my other job, my previous job, but I wanted more. Um, it was it was okay, but I felt like with the economy changing and things like that, I needed more. I was ready for more. I was ready for more responsibility. I was ready to learn more. I prayed about it. I looked at different positions, and like I said, just getting my wheels going on what I wanted, the type of money that I wanted to make, the type of atmosphere that I want to be in the office, that I want like a remote or hybrid role, like those type of things. And I was applying, I was redoing my resumes, I was doing my LinkedIn's. And like I said, I gave it to God. I talked to God about what I wanted, and He blessed me with an opportunity to work in a position where it's so crazy because, yes, my right away experience lends to what I'm doing now, but because of how specific my job duties are, I have no experience in the type of things that I do on a day to day basis. Um, I do a lot of budgeting, cost estimation, things like that. I don't have no experience in that, y'all. Um, but I was able to, and I'll get into this in a different video. I was able to look at myself as a business. I was able to look at, okay, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What have I done that I could lend to this position, to this company? And I've learned how to highlight those things. I've learned how to highlight those things. Sorry, y'all. I learned how to highlight those things and display them in a way where it made somebody take a chance on me. Because technically, doing the expenditures and different things like that, I learned that on the job. But I made sure to come in there and show what I've done. Even when I was doing wigs and different things like that, I've learned how to take that experience and everything I did in a side hustle and display it in a way where I can talk about that in an interview. I can talk about that on my resume. Um, Different call center jobs that I've had, the different negotiations that I've had to do as far as being an insurance adjuster. And it's so crazy because we look at different job postings and things like that, and we're like, well, I haven't done that, or I don't have that type of experience. And a lot of times we do, even in regular positions. And it's just gaining that knowledge and brainstorming, okay, this is what they're looking for. What's something similar that I've done? How can I sit here and explain to them, okay, well, I've done this in this position, and this kind of equates to what you're looking for. Um, on top of just knowing what you want, knowing what type of salary you want, knowing if you want to work in the office, knowing, do you want to work remote? Are you okay coming in 5 times a week? Would you like something hybrid? Do you need that flexibility because you have kids and they have a lot of things going on? Um, just setting a plan and being honest with yourself about what it is that you want, giving it to God and saying, does this align with what you have for me. I feel like this is what I want. I feel like you've placed this in me. Does this align? Let me pray on it. And God kind of helping you get in those positions. But you also got to do the work on your part too. Hopefully, I'm not everywhere because I know the whole break or whatever just threw me for a loop. But I just wanted to come kind of like with an introductory video, just kind of giving some of my experience and really letting you know, no, I don't have a degree. Excuse me. I went to college for a few years. I still don't have a degree. And honestly, there's been times where I've leveraged the fact, no, I don't have a degree, but I was in college. I did take certain courses. And sometimes using that experience, even not finishing college, as some type of point in a question that they asked me on the interview. Just being able to look at things differently and being able to do that and explain it to somebody else. Um, so yeah, it's all been a blessing. I'm grateful for it, and I'm in a position where I have tidbits and I've done things, and I would like to show people a different way on how to look at things so that they can put themselves in positions. I know people who have college degrees, who have decent experience, that don't understand what type of experience they have, and are still, how can I say it, and are still settling for $20 an hour. Girl, if I don't have a college degree and I'm making more than that, all we got to do is get your brain to thinking, knowing, like teaching yourself how to translate this experience so that you can get $65,000, $80,000, six figures sometimes, depending on what you've done and even what you're willing to do. Sometimes we don't know the different avenues. We don't know the type of different career paths that we can pivot to because of our experience. We don't know where to go to make this money. And I'm still learning. For a while, I want to stay where I'm at because I love the flexibility, but sometimes God might have something bigger for you, and I might have to step outside of what I'm doing, like, you know, and just always improving ourselves and bettering ourselves. And I feel like I'm going on a tangent. I don't want to go on a tangent, but um, yeah, I feel like God has placed it in me to take what I've learned and teach it to other people who might don't know how to do these things so that they can get in a position. And a lot of times getting in those positions lend to doing other things that help serve the Lord as well. Like, a lot of the reason why I would love to be in a better position, or I wanted to be in a better position, is not just for myself, but to be able to do things for my mother, to be able to do things because I'm in a missionary ministry and have money to help a ministry, to help people in my community, giving back to what God has already brought to me. Y'all, this is so ghetto. That was so ghetto. But yeah, just putting myself in a position where I can give back, and I have the means to give back to my community and give to other people what God has already blessed me with. So I don't want to go on too long. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I don't mind helping. We can get a conversation going if you have any questions about different career paths, any questions about anything that I spoke on. Um, like and comment, and please share, please, so we can get a community going. And soon, I'm working on some resources and different things like that to help other people as well, to just make that whole career transition a lot easier. Um, Thanks, y'all. And bear with me because I feel like I've been rambling. I'm not a speaker, but I'm going to get used to this so I can help y'all. But bear with me. Yeah, so y'all have a blessed day. Blessed day. Thanks, y'all.